activity 2, where you have to read the client requirements, convert it to an operational requirements, and then to set up your test table to show or to see how to test it and how to show it is working. So we go step by step, and all this leads very logically towards your code and your building. So don't worry about it. Follow what the exam asks you to do, and it will lead naturally into the work that you need to do. So the first thing that it gives you is the scenario. This is information from your client, and it will be given to you in generally quite a non-technical way. It tells you the background. So in this example, which is taken from the sample exam, and it's available on the website, it's talking about a hotel chain that asks you to do an egg timer product for the kitchen. It gives you the background. It's a noisy kitchen. It needs to be running with the amount of time remaining, and what happens is that it needs to be able to show a 2-minute egg up to a 6-minute egg. So the timer is supposed to either count down from 6 minutes or starting from 2 minutes. And this is where you need to be able to select the choice that you want. This is a list of what the client would like, so an indicator to show that the timer is operating, a way to monitor the cooking time from either 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 minutes, and indicator to show when the cooking time is complete. Now underneath it's just telling you what you need to do for the rest of the activities in the exam. So that's fine, don't have to worry about it. You'll just go through that normally as you go through each activity. Now we're focusing on the task and the operational requirements. So in this case, they've kindly summarized the task for you, and it says the task is, or the requirement from the client is, you need to have an indicator to show that the timer is operating. You need to have a way to monitor the cooking time from 2 minutes to 6 minutes, depending on what you have chosen or what the person using it has chosen, and an indicator to show that the cooking time is complete. So remember just to read through these things. You can highlight or underline things if you want to show, or just to remind you what is important. So in this case, what happens is that you want to have a way of entering your choice of 2 or to 6 minutes, and then to start the countdown. Okay, and then what you need to do now is to convert this into a set of engineering operational requirements, and then to fill in the test table. Now, what's the format or the style of filling in the requirements? In my example task booklet answer, which is on Teams, you can see this as an example. So your analysis is, firstly, just fill in terms of numbers or bullet points, the operational requirements. Remember to cover the minimum requirements that the customer needs first. So make sure you cover everything that you need to put in, asked for by the customer. Next, and only when you finish this first part, then you do the next part, which is the enhanced user experiences. So it could be additional things to make it easier to use, or additional features, or some way to react against unexpected conditions. So this is the place where you add on additional features, and this will be helpful to giving you higher marks for this unit. But at the minimum, you must be able to cover everything that the customer required first. So do that first before you talk about any enhanced user experience. Then what you do is you fill in the test plan template. So this is still activity 2. What you need to do is just fill in the test number. You can give it a name if you want, but just a number will be fine. And then the purpose of the test. Okay, you're going to do certain things here, the test condition, and what the expected result is. And reduce the width here so you have a bit more space to fill in the rest of the columns. And at this point, you do not worry about whether it's necessarily a button or a slide switch. And you can even call something like an alarm or an indicator. So you are always testing for the operation of your controller system, okay, the code. Do not write in tests for things like, is the LED bright enough or is the buzzer loud enough? That is not the kind of test that we want to write in here. This is kind of the operation of how the controller works or reacts to pressing buttons or changes in light or timing or things like that. Right, so back to this egg timer. Okay, so we've got 2 to 6 minutes. We need to have an indicator to show that it is operating, maybe some way of counting down because you have to show the time remaining. And you need an indicator to show that the cooking time is complete. So again, at this level, remember an indicator could be a buzzer, could be an LED, could be both. We are not worried about choosing that at this point. Now let's go back to our electronic task booklet. So for this, okay, we've done, what we need to do is first do the analysis of the brief. Remember, the first step is what the client requires. Then you can add in your enhancements and unexpected events. And then we start filling in the test the test plan template there. So operational requirements. Requirements for this. Okay, underline it, and you can put in bullet points. Is a convenient way of doing it because then you don't have to worry about long sentences. Okay, I'm going to move my bullet point to the left a bit so I have more space on the right. So remember, the user must be, okay, let's start again. So operational requirements, and we'll use bullet points. I'm going to move my bullet point to the left. And the operational requirements is method to enter the choice of the required program time. So it'll be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Okay, so it could be buttons. If you're feeling brave or fancy, you can add in, you can maybe use a potentiometer to adjust it, but buttons are fine as well. Okay, but at this point, we're not talking about the choice of that yet. Right, what's the next thing that we need to look at? Well, we need an indicator to show that the timer is operating. Okay, so we have an indicator to show that the countdown, right? How do we know it's operating while it's counting down? To show that the countdown is in operation. The next one is the cooking time remaining. All right, the cooking time remaining. So we're going to have to show indicator to show the cooking time remaining. And at this point, I think you should be slowly getting ideas in your mind of how to do it, and it's probably a row of LEDs that will either come on or go off as the time progresses. And an indicator to show that the cooking time is complete. Indicator to show that cooking time is complete. So again, at this point, is it a buzzer? Is it an LED or both? We don't worry about it at this point. Okay, is there anything else we need to do? Well, we are told that at this point as well, sometimes there are errors or changes the customer orders, and boiled eggs may be cancelled. So it would be useful to have a way of cancelling it. Now, this is not under the main client requirements. So it's you can put it in there, or you can put it under an enhancement. So because this is the main client requirements, and this thing about cancelling it is just part of the scenario and the background, well, I think this is a hint. It's a little bit of a suggestion to us that we can use this as an enhancement. So we've got the main client requirements in place. Let's check again. Yeah, these are the things that are in place. And we can have now enhancements and unexpected conditions. Well, so at this point, enhancement, I'm going to put in method to cancel the timer countdown. All right, so these are key ideas, and really you don't have to have anything else. We've already got in one enhancement. You can think of something else. For example, you may want to enhance it so that you can have half minutes in between. Again, that is up to you to put in, because that's not the main requirement. You may even decide, for example, to go beyond 6 minutes or down to 1 minute. I don't know in practice if that is such a good idea for egg cooking, but in terms of a controller system, that will be fine as well. So we could say, for example, a method, or not quite, yeah, I would say the method to enter countdown time to precision of 30 seconds instead of 1 minute. All right. So if I do this, or if I don't, it's not such a big deal, because these are additional enhancements. And you can think of more as well. Right. So we've done the operational requirements, including what the customer has required, and a couple of enhancements that you have added. And things like enhancements are, again, useful for the examiner to be able to give you higher marks for this. So really, that is all that we have for the operational requirements. Yeah, we want to keep this to a general form, but we want to change it from a customer way. So they may be giving you a customer requirements in some other form, and you have to pick out what the main requirements are and change it into engineering operational requirements, and then add in some enhancements and unexpected conditions that you can think of. So that's half of the activity 2, which is not quite so bad. Right. The other half is that you want to fill in the test plan template. So let's just reduce this so I have a bit more space in my columns to write out what we are going to do with this. So the first one here is method to enter the choice of the required program time. So some way of entering 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 minutes, right? So I will say test number 1, purpose of test is to enter the number of minutes, minutes to count down from. Let's say the test condition will be, in this case, I would imagine you would power it on and then you would enter the number of minutes. So the test condition is, we would say, power on the timer and use the given method to enter the number of minutes. So again, it's still a little bit general, and we are intentionally keeping it general at this point. Okay, the next one is the expected result. Well, what do we expect to see or to happen when we are entering the number of minutes? Well, I would say the indicator, so again, it's still quite general, indicator shows the required number of minutes, and at this point I will say it's 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 minutes. Okay, so this is the first test. When you power it on, you can use the given method, and we don't know what it is yet, and then it will show us the number of minutes. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it could be an LED, a push button switch. So as you press the push button switch, every time you press it, it will go from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and maybe if you press it again, it will go back to 2. So this is all for later. What I'm doing now is just writing it down, writing down the general thing. What's the next one? Number 2. Number 2 is an indicator